Medical school is off, and they step into their new careers this evening with words from a man who guided America's response to COVID-19.
And speaking with medical school graduates is a special honor, since my professional passion and identity, first and foremost, has always been as a physician.
Dr. Anthony Fauci delivering a speech just a short time ago. News 4's David Amilati had a chance to speak to the doctor before commencement. David?
Dr. Fauci stepped away from his role as director of National Institute of Allergy and Infectious Diseases director at the end of last year. He isn't calling this stage retirement, but it is an opportunity to inspire the next generation to study medicine, to stay grounded in fact and evidence-based science.
Don't be shy about going out there and speaking and promoting the things that are evidence-based and truthful, because you've got to counter it.
Fight back against untruths is what Dr. Anthony Fauci is sharing with the 2023 graduating medical students at Washington University.
It's their responsibility to push back on the normalization of untruths and say, no, wait a minute, that's not true. We're not going to sit down and give you equal credence.
Dr. Fauci speaks from his experience during the pandemic, where the United States had more than 1 million people die from COVID-19. He stands by that the emergency nature of the pandemic is over, but the pandemic is not fully over.
When you talk about pandemics, there's the accelerated stage of a pandemic. When you still have a pervasive illness throughout the world, technically speaking, it's still a pandemic.
He says the mischaracterization of science is not helpful when dealing with a public health crisis. Dr. Fauci is proud of our country's scientific response to the pandemic, but public health preparedness and response fell short.
We had 1.13 million deaths, which is about as high or higher than any other country. So there are a lot of things that we need to self-examine about how at the local public health level we responded.
Some say Dr. Fauci is to blame for those deaths and others. Grassroots groups, Nations in Action, and Missouri Stands Up organized a rally to protest Dr. Fauci's honorary degree and commencement speech.
I agree to the reality that the pandemic happened. I don't agree with the idea that the virus killed millions of people. There's a tremendous amount of evidence today showing that poor management was behind the deaths that have been attributed to COVID.
Dr. Gaston Cornu-Labat is a surgeon from Texas. He says Dr. Fauci wasn't transparent about COVID, the vaccine, or his relationship with Big Pharma.
It's a gene-altering therapy that was pushed as the solution to this pandemic.
Dr. Fauci disagrees with the claims. He says our country has to be careful of what he calls false equivalency with medical experts.
Getting a vaccine from the day we knew about this new virus was January 10th, 2020. 11 months later, we had in the arms of individuals a vaccine that was safe and 94 to 95% effective in preventing significant clinical disease.
Dr. Fauci says he is proud of creating the president's emergency plan for AIDS relief. He says it's saved roughly 25 million people so far. Now, tonight at 6, Dr. Fauci will break down the difference in the nation's divisiveness between the HIV crisis of the 80s and the COVID pandemic. In studio, David Amilati, News 4.
David, thank you. Washington